So, I will say that if you haven't seen this by now, it really is a crime. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about a newer release, Crimes of the Future. Before we begin, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this movie were, if you already saw it, or if you were planning on seeing it, and make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like these reviews, as it helps me out immensely by getting my content out there. And if you're new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with more movie-related content like horror reviews on a near-daily basis. But let's not waste any more time and let's talk about Crimes of the Future. This sees humans adapt to a synthetic environment with new transformations and mutations. With his partner Caprice, Saul Tenser, a celebrity performance artist, publicly showcases the metamorphosis of his organs in avant-garde performances. This is written and directed by David Cronenberg in his first film in 8 years after Maps to the Stars. It's also the second film of his with this title after another film in 1970, though this isn't a remake and the two are conceptually unrelated. And this gained a bit of a reputation from when it was screened during the festival circuit before its theatrical release in June, with people supposedly walking out in disgust. So there was a little bit of hype surrounding this as a result. Though upon seeing this, it is possible that those reports could have just been from people who might not have seen a Cronenberg movie before, or at least the ones that contain his signature style, because this simply feels like your typical Cronenberg movie, with nothing too out of the ordinary even for him. Though of course, if you like Cronenberg like I do, this will still very much be a good thing, as Cronenberg has such a distinct style to him. With a story involving people's organs being harvested and mutated, and there are all these bizarre performances with these weird characters, this is essentially quintessential Cronenberg, who's primarily known for his body horror-driven storylines, usually blending in elements of sci-fi and horror. And this fits right in with a lot of his classic films like Videodrome or The Fly. Now, the film doesn't necessarily do anything too provocative, nor does it necessarily push the boundaries of what's acceptable to show in a film. I mean, if you are a bit squeamish with bloodier sort of movies, then this might not be the movie for you. Because even though a lot of the elements involving characters messing around with their organs is presented as normal and doesn't do anything that I consider gross out, if you're not a fan of that sort of stuff in general, then I don't think you'll enjoy this, because I still wouldn't call this a movie that plays things safe in that regard. It can still feel a little unsettling in moments such as seeing Viggo Mortensen's character Saul hooked up to all these tubes with his organs right out in the open, and you have Léa Seydoux' Caprice performing surgery on him. But to get to my original point, even though this doesn't do anything that remotely crosses the line, it feels like just the natural continuation of a lot of films from the classic Cronenberg era. And with that does come some really cool visual moments. The film's set in a pretty dreary time period, which is shown to be the result of pollution and climate change. But some of the shots here are pretty sharp, and while the film isn't exactly effects heavy, most of the effects we do get are practical, and when we get them, it adds a nice layer of authenticity that can make the moment feel even more unsettling. And also, as is typical with a David Cronenberg movie, there's a level of surreality to it, from the general visual aesthetic to the creepy bug-like nature of some of the technology being used throughout here, and even down to the way certain characters behave or the things they're capable of doing. Like early on in the film, we see a little boy who's able to just eat plastic and digest it like normal. That's the sort of role we're in here. But this is most evident in a character played by Kristen Stewart, who's one of two individuals associated with something called the National Organ Registry, which is to make sure that these governmental restrictions on human evolution are upheld, now that humans are evolving at a much quicker and more bizarre manner. She speaks in an off-kilter, whispery, very pronounced way. She's very timid, and the way she moves around, it's clear she doesn't have people skills, and she has unusual interests. She even goes to one of the performances and she gets turned on by it, even saying what's become the film's most famous line already, "Surgery is the new sex." Now, I will say, I wouldn't call this film a dark comedy or anything like that, as this does take itself very seriously, but there is almost this very light touch of macabre, self-aware sense of humor that does go into moments like this, from the way lines like this are said, or how characters take something like that in. And even though Cronenberg's body horror-heavy films typically do play into weightier themes, this included, I at least appreciated moments like this where it wasn't this obvious wink to the audience, but there would be just this oh-so-slight acknowledgement of, yeah, we know it's weird, just go with it. And if you can go with it, and you like films that can get a little strange, then you'll probably enjoy this. And it's also a frequently engaging story. This isn't Cronenberg just looking to shock you just for the sake of it. As weird as his movies can get, That's generally never his intention. He always tries to provide some sort of meaning behind a lot of what he does. And here the big themes of the movie involve human evolution and what happens when restrictions are being made on any sort of natural progress. As I said, there's a major plot point about the government placing restrictions on evolution, and throughout the movie, we see them at odds with these radical evolutionists, which Saul gets in the middle of when he's asked to spy on them. Now, I wouldn't say Cronenberg goes nearly as deep with these themes as he should have, and it doesn't hit us on any sort of emotionally profound level, but it's still intriguing whenever we do circle back to a lot of this, and I liked the film balance these themes with a pretty deep exploration of this weird little world. Though I do want to circle back to that point about this maybe not hitting us on a huge emotional level. If I had any major criticisms of the movie, I'd say it's that. It's not an emotionally hollow movie, and I wouldn't call the characters completely one-dimensional or anything. Like, I thought Viggo Mortensen and Lea Seydoux were both very good here as our two leads, and I liked a little of this exploration we got where Saul indicates he doesn't actually like what he's doing and he's only making the most out of a bad situation, and his condition, which is referred to as accelerated evolution syndrome, does leave him in pain. It's just that it felt like it could have still gone a step further with some of the stuff, going hand in hand with some of the thematic elements it explores. The film gives us a lot, and it's all intriguing, and I wouldn't say it left me completely unsatisfied, but there were times where the payoff didn't seem to completely equate to the buildup that was being felt. Like, for all the stuff that includes this political drama, this exploration of mortality, this character trying to find some sense of peace with his unusual condition, we got just enough of each that the film as a whole worked well enough, but at the same time, it did kind of feel like because we go in so many different directions, we didn't get to explore as much with each of them as we could have. We got enough, and like I said, it works, but there could have been more there to make this a much deeper film than it ultimately was. Crimes of the Future is by no means one of Cronenberg's best, but it's still a solid film overall, playing into just about every element of his signature style. It's a film that does a lot, with strange imagery, an exploration of this dense, unique world, a lot of unsettling body horror-driven moments, a look at themes about the nature of our mortality and evolution, and this intriguing political mystery thriller all thrown in there. And it's all done with a solid cast, with Kristen Stewart in particular being a big standout. Now, because it goes in so many directions, it doesn't go quite as deep with a lot of this stuff as it should have, but it still comes together in a cohesive enough way to make for a frequently engaging entry in Cronenberg's filmography. Crimes of the Future gets a 7.5 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Crimes of the Future, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Is this your new favorite David Cronenberg movie, and what's one of the strangest movies that you've seen? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone, and keep having fun with film.